Justin Bieber is broke. Justin Bieber is in financial ruin. Those are the headlines we're all seeing. But are they true? And if they're true, then how did it happen? Today we're going to break down all of that and really start to understand how Johnny Depp, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Courtney Love are all intertwined in this story. So in last week's episode, we went back to the beginning of Justin Bieber's story to try to understand how all of this happened and where the break really started to begin. So here's a quick recap. If you missed it, Justin Bieber has had the same team since he was about 13 years old, since he was discovered on YouTube. And around 2022, something started to change. He started to separate from those people. And for the last 2 years, he has been privately battling his way out of those contracts that he signed over 15 years ago. And while that might sound relatively simple or relatively boring, the added factor is the PR firestorm that he has been living in for those last 2 years. And the other insane thing that we talked about, that Candace Owens brought up in her episode about this, is that the same PR company that is embroiled in all of the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively lawsuits chaos is the same company that has been representing Scooter Braun and his management group for years. So just think about that. The negative PR campaign, the paparazzi that is chasing Justin Bieber day in and day out, all of the stories about him being unstable, about him being in a cult, about he and Hailey being on the verge of divorce. It's all just gotten worse. And we have to ask, where is this coming from? And it seems to me that Justin Bieber is finally reaching his breaking point. He is posting all of these videos. He is showing people what it is like to be hounded by the press, by the paparazzi, day in and day out from his perspective. And these are the kind of messages that he has been posting on Instagram to his fans.
Hey, sir, these guys are being reckless back here. These cars, watch them. That cop stopped them. This is getting crazy, man. This is no joke. There we go. Now some justification for this.
Watch out, guys. Watch out. Watch out.
Look at these guys, man.
Straight ahead.
Look at these guys.
Guys, can you back up,
Look
please?
at these guys.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What are you waiting for? I'm standing, bro. All right. You got your shots, go. You guys are ridiculous, man. Come on.
So who are the people that have surrounded him since he was 13 years old, and why did he fire them? That is what we're diving into today. Before we jump into this though, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel if you've not already, and of course you can ring that notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our episodes. So between the years of 2016 and 2022, Justin went on 2 tours, and one was for his album Purpose and the other was for his album Justice, both of which left him in financial peril. Now the Purpose tour was abruptly canceled mid-2017 due to his physical and soul well-being, and this point in time, if you have followed Justin, it is well documented online. It's well documented in his YouTube docuseries where Justin is openly struggling with his mental health and being overworked, and this is also right around the time that he started to rededicate himself to his faith. And it's also right before he got married to Hailey Baldwin in 2018. So then after COVID, after all of that, he's taken a couple years off. The Justice World Tour begins in February of 2022 after being postponed due to lockdowns. But then in June of 2022, Justin has to postpone several shows due to a sickness, and he originally did not disclose what was going on, just that he was getting sicker and could not perform. Now, on June 10th of 2022, so a few days later, he tells fans via an Instagram story that he has been diagnosed with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, which rides on the heel of his Lyme disease diagnosis back in 2022. So at that point, he has had 2 years of back-to-back illnesses just taking a major toll on his body. But even though Justin is very clearly sick, he keeps showing up and trying to perform, and fans are really confused about this. Like, obviously they want to see him on tour, but also they're concerned because he is going through something serious and he just keeps showing up, yet he's not performing at the caliber that they're used to, and something just seems off. Now, in July of 2022, Justin tries again to return to touring, completing 7 shows in Europe, and then his last show for the entire tour was September of 2022 in Brazil. And then fast forward however many months to February of 2023, after he's taken this break, all of the remaining shows are quietly removed from his website. And then in March of 2023, so a month later, the official announcement came that the tour was canceled. And obviously, guys, a canceled tour of this magnitude would cause a major financial loss. However, the story is not that simple. And this week, after doing my first episode, I was inundated with tips and evidence from people close to Justin, from people who worked on his tour and have worked with him, with evidence pointing towards this fact. Now, even though Justin Bieber was saying that he was sick, that he was certifiably very sick, and he was not coming to shows, that he physically could not perform, his management kept the tour going. The managers the manager that he has been working with since he was 13 years old. Now, had Justin just canceled from the jump and not tried to half do the tour, he would have had insurance to cover the entire operation because he was sick and had a reason that he could not go on tour. But because he kept being pushed out there, doing a show here, dropping a show, but then trying to perform again, and didn't actually stop the tour until February of 2023, he was left with a debt of millions. And I also learned this week that on top of that, with the mismanagement of the finances of the tour just from the jump of the entire operation, had Justin even completed the entire tour, the Purpose and the Justice tour, he still would not have profited. Even if he had shown up to every single show, he would have walked away with nothing. And the crazier thing is, even though he would have walked away with nothing, his management would have still made a profit because of the way that the contracts are set up, because they profit from the money off the top. So in 2022, Justin was left with a debt that he had to pay the tour company AEG Presents. And again, just so that we're all on the same page, Justin did not earn a single cent on touring between the years of 2017 and 2022. And so at this time, and this is well documented, this is out in the public domain, there are articles written about this, Justin, understandably, stopped speaking to Scooter Braun. And at that time, he also decides that he wants to split from him and the rest of his business managers who put this entire operation together. So he hires a woman who we talked about last week named Lou Taylor, a woman who he and his family believe to be a person of faith, who will be a good steward with a proven track record in the industry who could help him get back on track. Now, before we get into Lou Taylor and her insane history, I want to take a break and tell you about my sponsor, 7 Weeks Coffee. 7 Weeks is Alex's and my go-to coffee that we literally drink every single morning. Now, as you guys know, Alex and I are very picky about what ingredients we choose to put in our bodies and bring into our home, and 7 Weeks hits the mark. This coffee is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, it is shade-grown, low-acid, and it is organically farmed. Not to mention, it tastes amazing, and they also have an incredible mission that is near and dear to my heart. And that is that 7 Weeks Coffee is America's pro-life coffee company on a mission to help fund the pro-life movement 1 cup of coffee at a time. They donate 10% of every sale to support pregnancy care centers and pro-life organizations across the country. They have raised over $900,000 for these centers and have saved thousands of lives. And the reason why they're called 7 Weeks is because at 7 weeks, a baby is the size of a coffee bean. They truly make an incredible product, and I love that I can stand behind both the ingredients, the people, and the values. So if you're ready to make the switch, head on over to 7weekscoffee.com and save 10% on your order when you use code Brett at checkout. Plus, you can save an additional 15% when you subscribe, and you will also get a free gift with your order. And if you subscribe, don't forget to use code Brett for that additional 10% off your order so that you can get a total of 25% off your first order plus that free gift. So now, getting back to Lou Taylor, what you should know is that Lou does have a long list of celebrities and clients that she has worked with over the years. I mean, she has worked with Gwen Stefani and Jennifer Lopez and Reba and Priyanka Chopra, Florida Georgia Line, and Sean Diddy Combs. Now, after Justin hired her, it quickly turned out that maybe Lou wasn't exactly as she seemed. And once Britney Spears' biography came out, which is what we talked about last week, things became even more clear. Now, I know we touched on this last week, but I think in order to understand the entire scope of the story and how insane this is, we need to understand a little more of Lou Taylor's history. So, Lou Taylor became involved with Britney Spears in 2007 after she was hired to help manage Jamie Lynn Spears, and this was right around the time that Jamie got pregnant. Now, somehow, no one really knows, I mean, this is not documented at all, she was brought into the fold of this family by their father, Jamie. This is Jamie Sr. And by 2008, so less than a year later, Lou was going on TV shows as the family's spokesperson to speak on behalf of Britney.
Lou Taylor is the business manager for Britney Spears' father, mother, and younger sister, Jamie Lynn. Lou, good morning to you.
Here you have Britney that needs to have some security somewhere, that every single thing she does and every single person she has a relationship with doesn't become an opportunity to be exploited. I mean, when do you ever rest in that if you're constantly in fear of being exploited? Every day, Jamie goes to work as a professional chef, asking the Lord to give him the strength to honor the people he works for in the midst of circumstances. That Lynn Spears is a mother that is brokenhearted just because she's apart from her daughter, that she loves her daughter so much, and again, asking every day for God to give her strength and for her to continue to have hope.
And her mom stated in her memoir, Through the Storm, that Lou and Britney's father had discussed putting her in a conservatorship shortly after that happened. So this was all around 2008. But the missing piece here, and guys, this is what shocked me, is that Jamie Sr. had around this time allegedly filed for bankruptcy. He had done this multiple times. And Lou Taylor's firm gave Britney's dad a loan of $40,000. Now, we don't know why, but he had just filed for bankruptcy, and this woman gave him $40,000. Now, within months of this loan, the conservatorship of Britney Spears was implemented. This was in February of 2008. But Lou and her father, even though Britney was apparently not able to function, she needed to be under this conservatorship, they kept her career going. Listen to this. Only months after arguing that his daughter was incapacitated and therefore needed to be under his control, Mr. Spears committed her to an 8-month tour named Circus. Tristar, that is Lou Taylor's company, was hired to serve as the tour's business manager, handling its finances and accounting, and the tour grossed an estimated $130 million. Money that was now under the control of Lou Taylor and Jamie Spears, the father. Now, another thing that I think is important to understand about Lou Taylor is that Lou is not a talent manager. She's not here to just oversee brands or help deals be made. She's not like an agent or that kind of thing. She was playing the role of business manager, which is a financial role. Even though Lou Taylor had no financial background, she was not even an accountant. And most business managers, my business manager, is an accountant. Lou Taylor actually started her career in a church working alongside her husband, who at the time was a pastor at Calvary Church in Brentwood, California. And interestingly enough, according to financial documents that are in the public domain, Jamie Sr. was giving 10% of his income that he was making off of Britney Spears from the conservatorship to the church where Lou Taylor's husband was a pastor. Read this. Mr. Spears at times gave 10% of his conservatorship income to the Taylor's Calvary Chapel, Brentwood, a practice known as tithing, according to a 2010 financial document. Mr. Spears gave tens of thousands of dollars in 1 year alone to the church, which is about 500 miles away from where he lives in Louisiana. Now, obviously, since then, all of this information has come out, and Britney has now accused Lou of playing a major role in her exploitation, and even though Lou denies all of this and continues to deny everything, through emails obtained through Britney's trials, it is clear that in some way, Lou was involved. This is from the LA Times. Britney Spears' lawyer, emails show ex-business manager helped set up conservatorship. And in recent years, Britney has even gone so far as to accuse her father and Lou of allegedly having an affair and unlawfully using her money to fund trips of their own. This headline from Daily Mail reads, Britney Spears accuses dad Jamie of having an affair with her ex-business manager Lou Taylor and claims he charged her estate for the pair's trip to the Holy Land to get baptized. And guys, this is not Lou's only controversy. She is not just wrapped up in the Britney Spears world. Just a couple of years ago, The New Yorker reported that she also tried to place Courtney Love and Lindsay Lohan into conservatorships. This article reads, Jamie Sr. had become close to Lou Taylor, a business manager who shares the Spears family Christian faith and whose husband is a pastor at an evangelical church. Taylor later raised the possibility of putting Lindsay Lohan under conservatorship, according to Lohan's father. This is coming directly from her family. Going on, the author writes, in a recent interview, Courtney Love said that Taylor tried to wrestle control over her family's estate. So the reason why I just gave you all of that context is because this is the individual who is brought in to clean up the mess after these two tours. Now, I am not sure what went into making this decision because a lot of this information was out there. I mean, everyone was calling Britney crazy in 2022 and Lou was denying all of this, so maybe Justin was just desperate for external support and trusted somebody who seemed so deeply rooted in the Christian faith, and it also probably helped that she was also managing Diddy. Somebody who in 2022 was still in Justin's life as a friend and as a collaborator. Now, that is not confirmed. I didn't hear that from anyone in Justin's circle. I have not seen any actual ties to this, but this seems like the clearest connection between Justin Bieber and Lou Taylor. And it also explains the reason why their relationship might have ended so quickly after that began, but we're going to get to that later. But regardless, in late 2022, Lou Taylor's company, Tristar Sports and Entertainment, was brought on to Justin Bieber's team to manage financial aspects of his companies, including Bieber Time Touring, Justin Bieber Brands, and Bieber Time Merchandise. And so begins the process of what Justin assumes is clearing up his debt from the tour and fixing the messes made by his previous management, but little does he know that Lou Taylor might just have somebody else in her ear. So now, as we are all understanding this timeline, Justin is working with Lou as he is simultaneously trying to separate himself from Scooter and his previous other managers. But there is still one other person remaining from his original team. It's time for you all to meet the attorney that Scooter Braun brought onto Justin Bieber's team when he was only 13 years old. And his name is Aaron Rosenberg, who at one point or another was basically representing all of Scooter Braun's clients, including Ariana Grande. And I want you all to know that I tried digging into Aaron Rosenberg, but there really isn't a lot of information out there about him, other than the fact that he is a gay attorney. I mean, like literally, guys, every single article article that is written about Aaron Rosenberg is focusing on him being a gay attorney. And I'm reading all of this and I'm like, why is this the main focus? Like, why should anybody care if this attorney is gay? Like, we don't care who he's sleeping with. Like, how gay is this guy if these are all the articles that are being written about him? Well, then I saw this picture. This is how he entered his wedding. He literally rode in on a white unicorn. And I just had to show you guys because it cracked me up last night as I was putting together this story. I mean, like, the poor horse. I mean, just look at his eyes. He has a horn on his head. I mean, he looks humiliated and exhausted. He needs a nap, which makes the perfect time for me to tell you about my two sponsors, Beam and Cozy Earth. Now, I'm so excited to share something that has made a real difference in my life. Beam is a company that was proudly founded in America, and it's run by people who share our values of hard work, integrity, and delivering results. Beam's Dream Powder is a science-backed, healthy nighttime blend packed with ingredients shown to improve sleep so that you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all-natural ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. And I am far from the only one who has seen results. Beam has already improved over 17.5 million nights of sleep, helping people across the country wake up and feel their best. And here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Cooper Trooper discount of 40% off. So today you can try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So go to shopbeam.com/Brett and use code Brett at checkout. Again, that is shopbeam.com/Brett. Use code Brett for up to 40% off. You will have an amazing nighttime drink. It literally tastes like hot chocolate and you will have the best sleep of your life. And what better way to complement that amazing deep sleep than by wearing my favorite pajamas from Cozy Earth. And you guys know that this is important to me because there is very little that I love more than being horizontal and cozy in bed, especially in my Cozy Earth pajamas. No joke, guys, their bamboo stretch pajamas are the softest pajamas I have ever worn. I basically live in them, and so do my mom and mother-in-law. Because Cozy Earth was kind enough to send them both pajamas for Mother's Day, and they have been a major hit. From cooking Easter breakfast a couple of weeks ago to farm chores out in Idaho to movie nights, these pajamas fit the bill for everything. So if you want to give your mom or yourself the gift of breathable, soft comfort this spring, go to CozyEarth.com and use my code Brett to get 40% off your order. Because this Mother's Day, and basically every day, your mom deserves the best, and Cozy Earth's pajamas are certainly the best. But back to Aaron, from what I did learn, aside from all of those articles that I was reading, was that he started working with Justin Bieber straight out of law school, and he stayed connected with Justin even after Justin stopped speaking with Scooter in early 2023. So the point is that he was still on the team advising Justin and helping him navigate the debts that he was facing after these tours. But again, we have to ask, was this somebody who had his best interests at heart? So now, my friends, we find ourselves in January of 2023, and under the guidance and orchestration of Lou Taylor and Aaron Rosenberg, Justin Bieber sells his entire catalog to Hypnosis for $200 million. Now, the sources that I've spoken to who are personally very close to Justin have said that Justin was backed into a corner, financially and emotionally, with not a lot of options, and this seemed like the clearest way out of the situation that he was in. And he felt like this sale would not only allow him to finally walk away from his former business associates and be able to clear himself of all these debts, but that it would allow him to have financial and creative freedom once again. He could just put everything behind him and start fresh. But it didn't really work out that way. Because after commission, after commission, after commission, after debts to the tour company, etc., Justin saw very little return on that sale. So he sold his life's work, his humanity, all of his creativity, and he saw nothing. It didn't actually fix the situation that he was in. And get this, allegedly, Scooter was working with Lou the entire time. After Justin thought that everyone was paid out, that everything was fine, Lou told him that he still had over $20 million in debt that he had to pay, even after selling his entire life's work for $200 million. But she told him, don't worry, Justin, because of Scooter and the way that he managed this thing, he is going to pay the debt. And of course, at face value, you read this and you go, oh my gosh, this is great. Somebody is finally on Justin's side. We're holding people accountable. This is great news. Nope, think again. Because while Scooter did pay the debt, it was actually set up as a loan that Justin had to pay back Scooter, where if Justin defaults on this loan, he will lose everything. And this is something that The Hollywood Reporter has even touched on. So this is not private information, although, according to my sources, the facts here aren't completely correct. They wrote, the Justice cancellation also triggered a series of financial consequences that are still plaguing the artist today. That That is correct. In not fulfilling his contractual obligation to AEG, the tour's promoter, and completing the concert dates for which he received a $40 million advance, he was left owing a large debt to AEG. Insiders claim more than $20 million. According to sources, then manager Braun, through his company, covered what was owed in the form of a loan at a highly favorable to Bieber rate. To date, Justin has only returned a portion of what he borrowed. So again, all of this information is out there. But this whole piece, the way that it's written, makes it seem like Scooter was benevolently bailing Justin out, just being a good manager, but they miss the important context that Justin didn't know that any of this was happening. And they also miss the context of why this $24 million exactly needed to be paid back because of decisions that management had made. And so amidst all of this, you might be thinking, okay, like how could Justin not have known that this was happening? This seems so irresponsible. Why is he not taking responsibility? Like how could he not know that he was in this much debt? And again, like we said last week, it all goes back to trust. And when you are somebody with a team of that size, when you have a net worth that is that large, when you have business manager on top of business manager on top of business manager and agents and accountants and everybody who is running your life basically, you, as in somebody like Justin Bieber, you're not looking over every single transaction. You are not the one making your budget. A lot of times when you read articles about people like him and Taylor Swift, they don't really even know how much money they have in their accounts. Because these people who you hire to work with you are supposed to give you the budget. They are supposed to keep you in check and guide you and make sure that you stay within the confines of the money that you have. And that apparently didn't happen. There was allegedly mismanagement in that they made bad decisions on his behalf based on what we're seeing about the tour. And there also seems to be mismanagement in that they didn't hold him accountable or help him make good decisions. In my opinion, I think that they allowed all of this to happen. So obviously, at some point in the last 2 years, after bringing in a closer personal team who actually has Justin's best interest at heart, they and Justin realized that Lou Taylor was not the person that he and his family thought she was, and that she was actually benefiting the people that he sought to get away from, which obviously was a awful, rude, cruel awakening. So then, in May of 2024, almost a year ago to the date, they fired Lou. And this was shortly after Britney Spears' memoir had come out in October of the previous year with damning evidence against Lou, and this was also just a couple of weeks after one of Lou's associates was named in one of the Diddy lawsuits. One article reads, Greenhill, that's somebody who worked under Lou, was named as Combs' accountant, who allegedly oversaw payments to sex workers, according to music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who accused Combs of sexually harassing, drugging, and threatening him. So everything now is intertwined. There's all this information about Lou coming out. They're seeing what she was doing behind the scenes. Obviously, his financial situation is getting better, and they finally say, we've had enough. And also, with the Diddy connection, remember what I said earlier about the possible role that Diddy played in connecting Justin and Lou? So it seems like, again, in my opinion, that maybe as all of this came out, their relationship had reached a head, she was fired. But I will tell you, this was not mutual, even though some sources in the press are saying that it was. For example, one person spoke to People last year and said they parted ways a few weeks ago in May. A source of Bieber and Taylor says it was a mutual and seamless transition. It wasn't a fit anymore. But guys, that is not the story that I have been told time and time again. That story that I have heard fits more with this quote given to the Daily Mail around the same time. Justin's split with Lou was not amicable, a source said. He fired her. People generally stay with their accountant for ages, and Justin was only with Tristar for 2 years. And again, guys, this is just laughable because they're calling Lou an accountant. She's not even an accountant. She doesn't have a financial background. She is a pastor's wife who somehow landed in this career thanks to the Spears family, somebody whose reputation precedes them in not a positive way at all. Again, we just went through that entire story. It's just crazy. At the same time, coinciding with Lou's firing, Justin also fired his attorney, Aaron Rosenberg. And this was the person that had just brokered the deal that didn't fix any part of his financial situation. And what's interesting is that even though Justin fired him amid the deal because things were going so poorly, the Hollywood Reporter still named Aaron as one of the best entertainment attorneys for brokering the sale of Justin's catalog. You can read it here. Power attorneys meet the top music attorneys of 2023. Here we go. Aaron Rosenberg for the sale of Justin Bieber's catalog. I mean, who knows? Maybe he did a good job with the legality of the contracts. Maybe all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. But who was that sale actually benefiting? And I would bet on Justin's camp not being thrilled with this award, considering how the entire sale turned out in the end. So then, after all of this, immediately after, Justin hires a new person. He brings on someone by the name of Edward White, which also makes waves in the press for a completely different reason. Now, you might remember this name from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Now, that trial aside, Possibly the most notable thing that Edward White did while working for Johnny Depp was helping him sue his former business managers for $25 million, including failing to pay taxes on time and making unauthorized loans, which is kind of an interesting coincidence. Now, this story, it just seems to be making more and more sense the deeper that we go. And suddenly, headlines from October of last year feel a lot more relevant, like this one from October. TMZ wrote, Justin Bieber upset the business manager squandered a fortune, considering legal action. And based on what I know, I'd say that it's a lot more than just consideration now. So again, you guys must be thinking, how did this all happen? Like, why would Scooter do this? Like, isn't it in his best interest, like I said last week, to stay on good terms with Justin? Like, isn't it in the best interest of Lou Taylor and Scooter and everyone around him if Justin is doing well and making money and is physically and spiritually happy? Well, I mean, if only it were that simple. Because like I said last week, none of this is rational. We've seen it time and time again. In my opinion, this is about control and lashing out at the person who has drawn a line in the sand and said, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm taking responsibility for my life. I'm going to be the one in the driver's seat. And the people who were in the driver's seat are not happy. I mean, these people already have all the money and power in the world, and at some point, it just becomes about control. And it seems like the lengths they will go to are endless because, I mean, from what I am being told, people close to Justin believe that Scooter was placing negative stories in the press and then turning around and telling Justin, I can make it all go away. There was trust there. Trust that has now been broken. And so again, we have to ask, like, how did Justin agree to all of this? How did it take him so long to realize what was going on to cut these ties? Well, over years and years of working together, of basically raising him from the age of 13, this management team made him dependent on them and basically taught him that they were the only route to success, that Justin needed them. And why wouldn't he trust them? I mean, this man comes into his life, promising him the world, making him famous and super successful, apparently being the one pulling all the strings behind the scenes. He steps into that position, but in all of the wrong ways. And it's clear in reading articles from years past that Scooter wanted him to trust him in that way. For example, there's a Variety article from years ago where he was speaking about his and Justin's relationship, and he said, time will show who a person is. We're very quick to be divisive and just abandon people when they're down, but that's not how you grow. You have to be there for each other, and that's how you get to a better place. And he's talking about other clients here, and he says, if it gets to a point where I think they need help and they refuse to help themselves, that's where I say, I won't help you professionally until you take responsibility for yourself. What I learned through the experience with Justin was that it's not on me. The person who makes that change is that person. You, the managers, need to be a stable force in their life so they know where to turn when they need help. Justin was the one who woke up one day and said, I'm going to make a change. Can you help me? And I can tell you that he made that change himself because for a year and a half, I tried every day to make that change and I failed. How you treat someone as a human being goes a lot farther than how you treat them as a product. Now, guys, when I read this article, I literally felt like I was in the Twilight Zone because if I had read this article a couple of years ago, before I really knew anything that was going on between Scooter and Demi Lovato and Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber, all of these things, I would have thought that Scooter was really saying all of the right things, that he was truly there for his clients, mind, body, and spirit. I mean, he's saying everything that a creator would want to hear. But now, from everything that is out there publicly about his dealings with all of these individuals, the stories that I have heard from people close to Justin Bieber, it is, in my opinion, that this trust was probably exploited. I mean, maybe once it was genuine, but at some point, things had to change. And maybe soon we will figure out how and when that happened. But for today, I'll leave you with all of that. But don't worry, I'm sure we'll be back because, I mean, we have not even gotten into Drew House, the best man, and the other business manager who was literally investigated for murder.